5 things not to do in a welcome flow. That is the topic of today's video. Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Kapler. I'm founder and CEO of Centric Squared. We're a CRM consultancy and marketing agency, and our specialty is really email marketing, and we've supported dozens of clients over the years, building their welcome flows, optimizing their welcome flows, A/B testing their welcome flows. And today's video is going to be the 5 common problems that we see in welcome flows, and I'm sharing it with you to help you overcome those mistakes and get a really high-performing welcome flow. First, when done right, a welcome flow can be a really wonderful addition to your marketing strategy. It is where you find new customers, introduce them to your brand, let them know about you, and hopefully make them fall in love with you and purchase from you. Now, welcome flows can be for e-commerce businesses, they can be for service-based businesses. Really, any business can have a welcome flow. As we discussed in our last video, 5 things to do in your welcome flow, or what to include in your welcome flow. Go ahead and watch that if you haven't already. There's certainly a lot of best practices in this space, and regularly businesses see the highest open rates in a welcome flow series compared to campaign. So a welcome flow is really prime time retail for you to share your story and win the customer over. It gets a lot of eyeballs on it, and you should absolutely take the time to set it up right. So here's the mistakes that we see. Number 1, don't go for the hard sell. Oftentimes we see this mistake. A company is jumping in and saying 15% off, 20% off, 30% off without even explaining what the value of the product is, without taking the time to remind people why they need this product, what makes this product different from other products, why choose you over competitors. And this is a problem we see all the time. You just met this person. They just showed some interest in your brand. They gave you their email address. So jumping in and going straight for the hard sell is usually too much. Now, that's not to say nobody will respond to that messaging. Some customers who already had an intent to purchase will absolutely purchase from a hard sell email. That'll be fine. But by being too forthcoming, by being too pushy, you are missing out on the opportunity to win over those other subset of customers, potential customers that are still considering your product. So we tell people to think of the welcome flow, especially that first email, as the beginning of a relationship, as the beginning of a long story you get to tell about your products and your brand. Sometimes you have a welcome discount, and you might say to me, some businesses say to me, well, I'm giving them a discount. Don't I have to give the discount in the email? Of course you do. You have to deliver on your promise. See my last video about that. That's, a baseline, but you can still do that without being pushy and while talking about the value you offer as well. So it's not about whether or not you can't have a discount in your first email. You can, but it's about how you message it and how you tone it. So don't go straight for the hard sell. You will see, more often than not, that this can help boost your performance of your welcome flow if you tone it down a little bit, and if you focus on the value that you're offering in those first emails that are getting those eyeballs, that are getting read, that are getting consumed. The second point I want to make today about what not to do in your welcome flow is don't write a wall of text. We see this all the time. It is really hard to tell passionate business owners to tone down some of their copy and to, instead of sharing 4 paragraphs about their brand story, to distill that down into 2 or 3 sentences, 3 or 4 sentences. It's hard. I get it. There's passion. There's an excitement. A lot of people want to share. A lot of people are wordy and they say, well, this is just my style. I get it. But in an email format, people are skimming the email. You can still share the highlights, but you don't need to write walls of text. They simply won't be read. They won't. We've done a number of tests for a number of clients on this, and less is usually more. Keeping it light is usually more. And oftentimes we look at the wall of text version of the welcome email and we'll say, you know what, this is actually 2 different emails. Let's split it up. Let's add an email campaign, and that tends to increase the performance. So don't write a wall of text. It's great to be excited and passionate, but also you have to consider the medium you're using here. And email is very much a skimmable piece of content where you want to, share the highlights and possibly, ideally, have the full story in long form content somewhere else to link to for those that want to read it. Number 3, the third mistake that we see a lot is ignoring mobile. So don't ignore mobile. Again, this goes with the wall of text, especially on mobile devices. Once you start scrolling, if it goes on too long, our attention spans are not what they used to be in this day and age, and people just leave. And now there's metrics inside ESPs, email service providers, that can even show you, how many people are making it to the bottom, or even, going all the way down to the bottom of your email. Some of the tracking is pretty sophisticated, and you can see that when you have too much content, then people are leaving. They're out. They're distracted. They're doing something else. They had 10 seconds to give you, and they're still on the second paragraph. So designing for mobile goes hand in hand with that, because you really need to design for mobile first. Most emails these days are opened on phones. Not all, in some industries, especially B2B, are more desktop oriented, but many are mobile. And it's really good best practice to design for mobile first. What that means is you map out your email, you build your email, and you look at it on a mobile device. And if it feels too long, too clunky, too wordy, you need to tighten that up in order to get the whole email read and people actually engaging with your email. So that's some work that we do often for clients, and mobile optimization can really go a long way to improving the performance of a welcome flow. So designs, like I said, tightening up texts, but also things like the padding and text links, and these little details can really make a difference in how people form that first impression of you and engage with the email. And you're essentially training them to open your emails over time. So if you get your welcome flow right, you'll also get more engagement down the line. The fourth point is don't send just one email. You'd be surprised at how many brands out there say, oh yeah, I have a welcome flow, and it's a small embed form on the bottom of their website. They get one email, and then nobody is following up. Now, different businesses have different teams, different capacities. Some have email marketers in-house, some work with an agency, some are between agencies, and it can vary how often brands are sending email campaigns. It could be once a month, it could be once a week, it could be 7 times a week. It depends, of course, on the business and on the team and the strategy in place. However, a welcome flow is where, you absolutely can send 2, 3, 4 emails as part of a welcome series. What we recommend doing is just timing them out. So email 1 goes immediately, email 2 3 to 7 days later, email 3 to 7 days later, and making sure that all new subscribers, people are showing interest in your brand, are kind of taken on a journey and are shown certain messages to help them form a good first impression of your brand. That really helps. And especially in a welcome flow, for whatever reason, not everybody's going to purchase on that first email right away. Those additional touch points can often really help to reinforce and to give them more opportunities. How many times have you signed up for something, you go, oh, that's cool, and then you forget about it, and they keep emailing you 2 or 3 times until finally you go, oh, you know what, now's a good time, let me go in and research whatever and make a decision on making this purchase, right? And so sometimes just having multiple touch points in a welcome flow, having multiple emails, just gives more opportunities to engage with your brand. I will also say that email, often overlooked when people are, when we're talking to small business owners about this, is the power of search terms. So one of the reasons a welcome flow can be so high performing, and one of the reasons we say put your value first, make sure to spell out what makes you different, or FAQs from customers or concerns people have or testimonials of customers that are happy, because maybe the subscriber isn't in the purchasing frame of mind right away, but when they are, you want to be top of mind. And there's a lot of cases and a lot of data on, let's say I'm, looking for a house painter for my house. I might sign up and go, I'll keep an eye on them. Maybe I'll reach out to them when the time's right. Oh yeah, they look cool. And you sign up for it. And at some point down the line, I'm ready to find vendors. And I go, who was that painter again? Who was the one that specializes in old houses, or who is the one that also does carpentry? Let me search my inbox, painting, carpentry, right? And that's when those emails pop up and you'll get that conversion, sometimes weeks, months after it's sent. But creating those emails and getting them into the inboxes also helps the businesses long-term have this kind of searchable repository and searchable direct line to the customers for when they're ready to buy. So don't just send one email and forget it. Consider how many touch points you can make it 3 to 5. Sometimes we've seen 10 as well. It depends how much you have to say, but definitely take advantage of that because they have expressed interest. So they're fair game to go ahead and email. And the last point I want to make is to not overcomplicate the design. So I have touched a little bit on this when we talked about mobile first design, but I also want to say, a lot of businesses come to us and say, we just don't have the budget yet for email marketing, but we still want to implement some of these strategies, some of these principles. You can have a high performing welcome flow without a giant design team. And what I mean by that is really thinking through your message, the value you're offering, the positioning, the content that you're putting forth. Making it clean and simple and readable can absolutely still bring you sales and growth over time. So I think if you're not ready yet to invest in a team or a design team to make them look, beautiful, that's okay. You can still get pretty far just thinking through the content. And that's something any business owner can do with a little bit of strategy and elbow grease. We tell our clients, don't overthink it. Sometimes, clients come to us and say, oh, look at these emails that I'm getting from, Ulta Beauty or, United Airlines or, these big companies with big marketing teams, big marketing budgets. And yeah, they're great, absolutely, and they look nice, but you don't need that to get started. Email is a touch point, it's a communication line, and you can still come off well and form a good impression just by being strategic about what content you are putting in the emails over the design. I will say that personally in our agency, we don't even like image-only emails because they load slowly. They sometimes have deliverability issues when there's not enough text to image ratio for certain inbox providers. So even the big brands, the big companies are sometimes stepping away from the image-only designs for deliverability issues and for performance issues. So it's not necessary to have this, piece of art in every email to do a good job, and just some clear copy and an authentic tone can get you far. Those were the 5 points that we covered. 5 mistakes, 5 things not to do in your welcome flow. Number 1, don't go straight for the hard sell. Number 2, don't write a wall of text. Number 3, don't ignore mobile first design always. Number 4, don't just send one email, send multiple emails, multiple touch points. And number 5, don't overcomplicate the design. It actually can hurt you and your deliverability if you do. These are mistakes that we see often when we're talking to small business owners, when we're auditing accounts, when we're optimizing for accounts, and they're pretty simple strategies. If you get these 5 things right, you will be ahead of most of your competitors already. So I hope you found this useful. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, if you need help building your welcome flow, optimizing your welcome flow, testing your welcome flow, or anything email marketing, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're happy to get to know you and support small businesses. Have a great day.